It's time for Sustainable Living with Glenn Boblitz, the show that helps you be prepared to care for your family regardless of the circumstances that may come your way. Now, here's your host for today, Mark Lamb.
In the studio with Glenn Boblitz. And boy, you were busy over the weekend.
Yes, indeed. We did a big canning weekend.
Yeah.
And good gosh, it was hot.
Yeah.
But can you imagine if we'd done that in our kitchen? Now, we have a little canning shed, and it makes it a little easier because it's much bigger, easier to clean, lots of stainless steel, but it's still hot.
Sure.
You know, you run 3 canners wide open, some friends come over, so it was kind of a group effort, and we had a big time doing it, but, you name it, we canned it this weekend.
Yeah.
Did cherry juice. Cherry juice is really good for antioxidants and your immune system. So we canned a bunch of these cherries and juiced them all up. That's what we typically do. But we also made some canned maraschino cherries for, you can put it on ice cream. My wife is just tireless until about 3 o'clock hits her.
Okay, and then
it's just just wipes her out. But it got up to 100 degrees in that canning shed.
Man, I believe it.
And with the doors open, fans running, you go, okay, we need to step back from this. Took a little break.
Sure.
Got it cooled off again, and right back at it. Guess what she's doing this morning? Right back at it. Down in that canning shed, but it's early morning. That's what she tries to do.
Okay,
knock out these hot jobs early in the morning.
Sure.
So she's doing elderberry. Our elderberries came in, and so she's canning them up. Another superfood for your immune system.
Yes.
So that's what she's doing this morning. Me, I'm just kind of goofing off, and I hope she doesn't hear the podcast that I'm just kind of goofing off, but that's not true. I don't goof off too much. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
So what are we going with today?
Well, we're getting close to planting your fall gardens. And it seems funny to say fall gardens when we're about to hit August, but if you're going to plant these things, you want them to germinate quick and get started quick. So, and it's pretty hot. I'd wait a little bit on this one.
Okay.
Usually on the first week, you can start popping onions in the ground, onion sets to get either by seed or by set.
Right.
Because they're biannual and they'll grow for 2 years to get really big. Most people don't know that. Most people plant the little onion sets, and they'll get a little 1.5, 2-inch onion and go, well, that's not real impressive.
Right.
But if you winter that over, mulch it over, or pull them up and replant them the next year, they'll get really big, like the big Vidalias. Maybe not quite that big, but that's how you get big onions.
Okay.
So that's just one thing that you can do. But the main thing that you need to start selecting right now is which seeds am I going to save?
Okay.
Now, if you got hybrid seeds and you planted hybrid seeds for your tomatoes or whatever, don't bother even collecting them because they'll revert back. You won't get what you wanted.
Okay.
But if you have your hybrid crops that you've planted, hybrid beans or hybrid corn or hybrid tomatoes, select that biggest, prettiest tomato. Now, that's hard to do. If I got a tomato that's, a pound, and I'm going, that son of a gun's going on a sandwich. But you might want to just flag it and go, okay, I'm going to let this mature out, and I'm going to save the seeds from it because it did the best. You want to save your best because it's already proven it could do it.
It can do it, right.
Right, so there you are. And that goes with about any crops that you want to save seeds from. Lettuce will go to seed. I mean, about June, lettuce has had enough, takes off, it bolts, goes up, puts out these little seed heads, kind of looks like, little miniature daisies, and you can collect those seeds also. So just about everything will go to seed to collect it, but it's got to be heirloom in order for you to get a returnable crop.
Okay.
So just heads up there. I did learn something this weekend that I thought was just plumb genius.
All right.
When you have hot weather like this and you have melons or even cucumbers, if they get a bunch of rain, they swell up and bust because the skin can't stretch fast enough as it can pump that internal water pressure.
Okay.
And that's what's busting them.
Okay.
That's amazing that they can pump enough pressure, water, and nutrients and into a melon to explode it. That's what's happening. It's not that the heat is expanded and busted. It's the internal water pressure got too high. So this guy figured out that if you take a toothpick and push it through the stem, it shuts some of the water pressure off.
Isn't that something?
And keeps your watermelons from blowing up. Wow. Son of a gun. Now, I don't know how he figured that out, but he did, and it works. Son of a gun, it works.
How about
so,
that?
That's a little tip of the day.
I
something
like
you're
that.
not going to read in your little magazines. All right, saving seeds. The easiest ones to save from your garden are going to be corn, beans, and peas. Peas are probably already done. You should already save them. The beans, just let them dry.
Mm-hmm.
When they get all leathery and you can tell that your bean plant is getting ready to crap out, just pull it up by the roots, shake the dirt off, and hang it on a fence or hang it somewhere where it can dry.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that shouldn't take very long. Then you can pull your pods and let them dry inside somewhere in a cool, dry place. Then you can break the pods open, save your seeds. That's how that's done. Okay. Corn's a no-brainer. You just let it go through fall. Eventually the plant's going to die out. And then you can pull the dried corn, just like a farmer harvests corn for to feed his cattle. You just, your sweet corn or whatever kind of corn you got. Ours is Ohio Blue Claridge. We let that dry out and become a dent corn. And I can tell it's ready because a little dent is in the top of the corn. That's how
That's interesting.
That's what describes its name. It's dent corn.
Okay.
So you open it up a little bit, look in, it's kind of dented. It's starting to dry. That's when I harvest mine and put it up somewhere to dry. I got a nice little barn that's kind of drafty, so it'll dry fairly well, especially with this kind of heat. And you just let that dry, and then I can pull the kernels off and save the seeds in a good airtight container. And you just got to make sure everything's dry before you put it in there.
Okay.
Now, corn, test for it is to bite it. If you can bite it and still feel that soft center, it's not dry yet.
Interesting. So it's got to be.
Yeah, you want about 9 to 14% moisture.
Okay.
Now, how in the world am I supposed to know that? I just told you. Bite it. Anything more than that, and you could feel that soft center, especially towards the tip, and that'll tell you what it's ready. Same way with all your grains. All the farmers will pull a handful, pull out a seed, whether it's oats, wheat, barley, anything, and they will bite it. If it feels el dente for dryness, they know it's not ready. It should be fairly hard.
Okay.
In a crack stage, that we call it.
Crack.
But there's enough moisture to keep the.
Well, old Jimmy crack corn, and I don't care.
Well, I care, darn it. That's the saving of seeds. But you can start planting things, but first you're probably going to have to clean up a mess. A lot of people's tomatoes have died out. We had quite a few of ours died out. Don't leave that stuff there. If you have dead vines, get rid of them. It's nothing but a place for bacteria to get in and winter over, get into your soil, and stay there forever. So it's all about keeping your garden cleaned up. Drop leaves, that's another bad one. Same way in an orchard, that's why they clean up these orchards. Keep that stuff off the ground so you're not inviting bacteria. Right now, the humidity is up there, 85, 95%. Ideal conditions for bacteria. So you don't want that stuff in your garden, so keep it cleaned up.
All right.
So if you're getting ready to plant, you may have to pull all your beans because that may be where you're getting ready to plant your next crop.
Okay.
Whether it's turnips or beets, or you can get a second crop of beans out of that. One good thing about the beans, if you don't want to save them, you can just till them in.
Okay.
They're very high in nitrogen.
Oh, so so that's that's good.
And that's why they rotate crops. When in commercial farming they plant corn, then they plant beans. They almost always do that, and that's because the bean is going to replace the nitrogen that the corn stole out, because corn is a heavy nitrogen feeder. So you can see the principle here. You're trying to keep the soil stable as far as nutrients. You can't just take.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good thing to do.
Okay.
So if you're going to plant something, just look up the cold crops. Now, as I said, cold crops like the broccolis and stuff, you better wait on those, because young seedlings from broccolis, cauliflowers, that kind of thing are not going to be able to take this kind of heat. So you may have to wait a full month to plant those. But beans will take off right now because the ground is so warm.
Right.
Lots of moisture in the ground. You should have a terrific bean crop within 45 to 60 days. But probably better than you had in your early crop.
Interesting.
We tend to do that. Now, we had to plant beans 3 times because of the cold, wet spring.
Mm-hmm.
It got warm. Everything seemed like it was on track, and,
Right.
and then it just got cold. Then it got wet, and then it got cold some more, and it just kills the seed. Seed's not designed for that. It's ready for spring, not late winter.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to plant several times. Corn didn't do as good as it should have germinating wise, but corn's a long not gestation period, a long maturity period.
Mm-hmm.
So you won't get a second crop of corn. You just don't have the 90 to 100 days to get it. It's not going to produce. But you can look this up. Just type in planting fall gardens, and it'll give you a whole list of things that you can plant. So let's look that up. There is certain seeds that when you save your seeds, get better over time. They are getting accustomed to your environment. Now, your seeds may have come from Missouri or Kansas, but it was set up to grow in their soil, their climate. So it may not have done as well as you'd hoped. But the second year, if they're heirlooms now, the second year you plant them, because this would be the second generation in your soil, those things can adapt.
Okay.
It's amazing that God set that design up that says, you can blossom where you're planted, So they'll get better. That's called land race. Now,
Land race?
Land race.
Okay.
Now, that applies to heirloom seeds. It also applies to mixed race seeds. If you have a hybrid seed and you planted something and it comes back the same thing, it may be trying to stabilize its own little strain. It won't be perfect.
Yeah.
But you go, dang, that did okay the second year. Now, you can experiment. I wouldn't depend on these things.
Right.
But the design is in them things to come out and survive. So if you get something in it, and rather than to have big tomatoes, you end up with smaller tomatoes but better taste, try to plant them a third year. Now, these are experimental stuff, tinkering around in your garden. Again, you don't want to depend on that. And that's how new hybrids are developed. New species of tomatoes are developed because somebody's tinkering around with them,
Yeah.
But back to land race, they may get stronger over time, or they may crap out and die.
Right.
Most of the time, they just get stronger. They just learn to adapt to your soil, your conditions, your Virginia climate or your Maryland climate, Pennsylvania climate, wherever it's at, and it will do better every year that you plant those seeds. Our corn is a good example. Ohio Blue Claridge. You come out of Ohio, imagine that. I got it from Concord, from a guy up there, which is fairly close, but a little different. Mine, the first year, didn't do as well. The second year did even better. This year, it's phenomenal. I got corn that's 14 foot high, which is pretty phenomenal for the amount of heat we've had.
Yeah.
Some of them have 2 ears per stalk, which is really good, but they're up about 7 feet. I'm have to jump up to pick them.
Sure.
But it's just they're getting better over time. My seeds are getting stronger over time. That's land race.
Okay.
And a lot of seeds are just like that. We planted trying to think, Ponderosa Pink, which is out of, I'm trying to think of the county that came from, around Covington.
Mm-hmm.
Guy give me the plants and said, these, we've been growing them over there, and that's kind of higher up in the mountains. They didn't do as well. They just couldn't handle the heat.
Okay.
Up there in Covington, where he was at, it was a little higher up in elevation, a little cooler. And, they just go, I'm not going to do it. But my other stuff did fine. So, I was tinkering around my garden, see what's doing the best. And I'll save those seeds because they are heirloom and see if they do better next year.
Okay.
My wife says, I'm not planting those because they didn't do worth a darn, but I'm going to give them a chance,
Yeah.
I got my own garden, by the way, You don't tell me what to do. But I will plant a few in the spare garden, so we'll figure it out and see what comes up. We'll see whether it was a fluke or just not a good seed for here. Talked about cold crops. The fall garden, you'll find you'll have far less insects that try to damage your crop. You know why that is? Because they lay their eggs in the spring, right? And they mature in the summer and then lay eggs in the fall. So and hibernate and that kind of stuff and do all their damage midsummer when all your fruit's there. But this time of year, they've already laid their eggs. They've already gone through their mating cycle, and now they're going to go into hibernation, or they'll just die off, and their eggs will last till the next year. Okay. So the amount of bugs is not going to be there. Potato bugs, they crap out. They're a quick spring thing, and then they're done. We dug a lot of potatoes this year, 12-1. You know what I mean by that? For every 1 pound of potatoes, you're supposed to get 7 to 8 pounds of potatoes back. We got 12. We got a potato, I think it's 1 pound, 4 ounces. I mean, it's a giant, and it's a white potato. These are not the giant baking Idaho potatoes. This is just regular potatoes, which typically half pound is a nice potato. 1 pound, 4 ounce. They were huge this year. Thank you, my wife.
Yeah.
She held them up. She was very patient with them this year and kept them held up nice and the bugs off of them. We don't spray them. She went around just smashed bugs. Now that's not the most.
she's a bug smasher.
Yeah, that is not the most glamorous job. The little young immature potato bug. It's kind of pink and squishy, and she don't care. She gets right out there and smashes them. So I found out something about potatoes this week. I've been doing a lot of reading. You know how they get your potatoes to you all year long. Now we've stored potatoes, and if you get a quick temperature change, they'll sprout. When spring comes, they know. And I don't know whether they're hearing the birds sing or what it is, but they just sprout.
Yeah.
You know how you can get those and they're not sprouted? Chemicals. They spray these potatoes, and they're part of the Dirty Dozen.
Yeah.
They spray the potato plant while it's producing the potatoes underground. So the plant absorbs that chemical, and it's a nasty chemical. Goes into the potato and just stays there, but it inhibits regrowth of any new potatoes. That probably is not something you should have.
No.
And do you think you're eating that?
Oh yeah.
If it inhibits new growth and
it's probably killing some of your
stops
own
the reproductive cycle of the potato.
Yeah, what's
I'm
it doing?
thinking people shouldn't be eating that.
Yeah.
The stuff is so potent that the farmer is not allowed back in the field for 3 days.
After
That's the warning label.
Wow.
On it. I'm thinking, who's the guy that's spraying it?
Yeah, yeah. What kind of
I bet
protection
he
does
don't have
got?
kids.
Yeah.
Jeez. That's not good.
No, not at all.
So, if you're going to save your potatoes, you should probably try to save the potatoes that are a little better at saving. Like the white potatoes and red potatoes, very thin skin. Everybody
Right.
likes them. Make the best mashed potatoes.
Right.
They don't store well because they have such a thin skin.
Mm-hmm.
Russets and Yukon Golds, and there's a couple others. Kennebecks, they seem to do a little better storing wise.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to sprout, folks. That's all there is to it. They're going to sprout. If you store your potatoes, you should probably also keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
Because if you can smell a bad potato in there, you need to go find it, because that bacteria is going to jump to the next one.
Oh, okay.
They shouldn't be touching either.
Ah, gotcha.
I don't know whether you know this. You don't wash potatoes. Did you know that? When you get them out of the ground, you just knock the dirt off,
Right.
allow them to dry, then you put them up so they get cool, dry place.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't wash them. If you wash them, you get rid of that natural bacteria that's on the outside that's been protecting that potato on the ground.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
you wash it off. You just made it susceptible to everything that's in the
Vulnerable.
air.
Yeah, sure.
Just tidbit,
Interesting. How about that?
There's not a whole lot of ways to store potatoes. Now you can can them, which changes the flavor. It really does. We make potato soup. No meats in it. You can season it and all that, but don't put the meats in it, because any kind of grease will make it spoil.
Mm-hmm.
The texture comes out pretty good. But just to can raw potatoes, just the potatoes, it just has a different flavor. Not bad, just different.
Mm-hmm.
We've tried shredding them and freezing them like hash browns.
Oh, yeah.
That works okay, but there's a little process. You have to blanch them, parboil them to kind of wash off that starch that's on the outside.
Okay.
So it doesn't oxidize, because I think that's where that all flavor comes from.
Okay.
That does okay, and then when you cook them up, they don't crisp up as good as my dehydrated shredded potatoes.
Interesting.
So when you rehydrate those fry up nice and crispy, like best hash browns I ever had. So that's just one way of dealing with your potatoes. But if you want fresh potatoes, some people have a root cellar. I would say far less people have it now than had back in the 50s and 60s.
Right.
But people are getting back to this.
Mm-hmm.
Much smaller versions. There is mounding, where they dig into the side of a hill and lay a bed of straw and put your potatoes in, a layer of straw, and then cover it all up with dirt. Now, they do it on the side of the hill so water don't stay in there.
Okay.
That's kind of an old technique. I've seen one other technique that they do in the Carolinas, where they build kind of like a beehive mound. Same principle, straw, and they just keep building it up, and it's just on flat ground, because it's kind of hard to dig down in some of that area down there. It's like sandstone.
Oh, wow.
So they do it above ground, but the idea is to build that insulation layer up and still have the humidity to keep your potatoes from shriveling and dry out.
Nice.
If you got another technique, hey, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
Everybody always trading information on gardening, so
Oh, sure.
do that.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me give the text number out here. We'll take a quick break and rejoin. And I do want to ask you, I've been getting all these different things on Facebook. Maybe it's because I went to Sustainable Living. Now it knows with the algorithm. I'm getting all this.
My algorithm.
Your
gotcha.
algorithm is sending me over to the Amish way of life. So we'll get to that in just a minute. We're in the studio with Glenn Ballblitz. This is Sustainable Living Made Easy.
We're back with more Sustainable Living with Glenn Ballblitz. Be sure to look for Sustainable Living on Facebook for even more information and follow-up conversations with other members. Now, here's your host, Mark Lamb.
Sustainable Living Made Easy. Glenn, I mentioned, and I don't want to knock you out of your groove because you have more stuff you want to cover. Let's just, for a moment here, talk about these Amish books that are all over Facebook now, and 101 ways to live the Amish way and all that kind of
Right.
stuff.
there's a lot of information that was being gleaned from the Amish community and the Mennonite community, and they're not exactly the same. They're fairly close, but in our minds, they're all the same, but they're not.
Right.
There is good information there. They just learned to make money at it. And somebody learned to make money at those people. So you can see that they go, this is a good thing, and I'm going to take it and copy it and put it out to the public and make money at it. Okay, it's just information. I get that. You're not stealing any information. You're just building on what's already been there. It's been there for a long time. So and some of the books are pretty good, and some of them have great pictures in them, and I've seen them, quite a few of them. Absolutely. If as long as they're not crazy priced.
$39 was the one in 34.
Right, well,
and then I found some as cheap as like $15.99.
Right, and it depends on where you get it, and there's a lot of used books out there. Do you know that?
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed to buy that used book.
Me either.
I mean, $39 or $10. Which one's Glenn going to do? Okay,
Right.
So having that information in your hand that you can reference back to is pretty important.
Yeah.
There's some study that just come out that they're taking the tablets away from grade school kids because they don't learn as well. Their SOL scores drop tremendously because of this over that period, and they go, something's wrong, and you wonder what that is. You give them a tablet, and you think they're going to just stay on the math part. No, they're playing Pokemon games and whatnot. That's just the way it is. But back to what you were asking, not only the Amish book, there is a big push on herbal medicines. I don't know if you've noticed that. There's a lot of good information coming out about herbal remedies.
Okay.
And I got one book that's really good. It says where there is no doctor, and it's just about how do people make it without the local physician. Well, back 100 years ago, that was a no-brainer. You just ask Granny, what do I need to put on this?
Sure.
So she'd say, go get me some plantain, and we'll wrap that up, However you were doing it back then, that information is coming back, and it is good information. This is not, witches homebrew we're making. These are just natural plants that have been used for a couple thousand years, and people are just rediscovering them. Nothing's new under the sun.
Right.
So that's a good thing you can go check out. I've talked about wild lettuce, and I've talked about mullein, and I actually harvest a bunch of wild lettuce seeds this year. And for people that don't have it, I just happen to have it, and they don't know where to get it, and some of that stuff is expensive.
Yeah.
But if you got the seeds, and they are, already land raced, they are already heirloom, you should never run out.
Yeah.
And now you may have a garden patch of them, plant them just like you do any other plant. Dedicate a row to them.
Yeah.
And you will have a painkiller in your backyard. You could start a whole medical gardens. In fact, there's books on medical gardens. So this stuff is out there.
Yeah.
You probably should look into it.
Sure.
It'd be wise.
Okay.
No panic here. I'm just saying the likelihood of an emergency is increasing, natural or man-made. In fact, there's a lot of naturals going on there. I don't know if you watch anything about Yellowstone. It's heating up.
Yeah, it might be.
Florida's sinking. I'm going,
It's because all those Northerners are still moving into the state, and people from California.
So there's things happening. It's just there's a myriad of thread. Pick one. I don't know which one scares you the most.
Well, the one that
prepare
I have
for it.
family in Florida. That one worries me. But if Yellowstone pops, oh my gosh,
right,
that could make a
Younger Dryas.
A nuclear bomb. Look pretty.
Right. I mean,
tame.
It would send a belt of ash into the air that would probably darken the skies for a while. and it would continue to darken around the world because the world's spinning around, you know, and air moves. So nobody knows what's going to happen. They just know it's bad if it pops. The ring of fire of all the volcanoes, they're moving pretty bad. The sinkholes in Florida, you see all the ones out in the ocean, they're finding, looks like wormholes in the ground, but they're flipping huge, and they go down for hundreds and hundreds of feet out into the ocean. You know, is something about the collapse underneath the ground? We don't know. You know, but they're thousands of them. That's bad. When the ocean floor becomes porous, that's a possibility of something moving after that. Well, they were talking about if this line of these things acts as a fracture and moves, that's going to create a huge tsunami.
Well, yeah, and plates. I mean, we've talked about the plates shifting.
Absolutely, the whole world's in flux at the moment, and they're not sure why it's all moving. You know, it's a big scheme going on. We're just now trying to figure out. I'm not doing a very good job at it, but regardless of what it is, being prepared is your best hope to get through it. If you can have your food, water, and shelter, you know, the odds go way up for you. Being unprepared is a foolish statement. I don't ever want to be there, and I don't want you to be there either. But how you're going to react, and that's important. So you want to know how your government's going to react, your neighbor's going to react, how the farmer's going to react, how water's going to be continuous supply. What's the game plan here? Most of that can be answered in your own common sense. I need to prepare myself. These people are going to be too busy taking care of a lot of other stuff to come and save me. They're not going to come save you. They will help you the best they can, but they don't have that kind of resource.
Right. Well,
no one does.
Right. The response is going to be so overwhelming.
Right. So it'd be a good thing, you know, if you know what your community's doing, what your local governments are doing, then you can work together. If you don't know, and in that place of panic, you are of no use to anyone.
Sure.
Especially your family.
Yeah.
So we'll leave that there.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Join us again next week for Sustainable Living with Glenn Boblitz, helping you be prepared and not scared. This podcast drops every Friday anywhere you get your podcast.